I'm Hunter Stone Gamble with Oklahoma Distilling Company and local cider and Angry Bear Mead over here on 7th and Utica, right next to Cabin Boys. And American Slayer is just set to open, and Marshall Brewing Company. And we've been here making spirits and cider for the better part of a year and a half. We've kind of reached our capacity in Tulsa as far as production. So we're expanding out to Oklahoma City to expand production, as well as spend a little bit more time in the OKC area. And one of the fun parts about moving to Oklahoma City, or moving part of our operations for expansion out there, is that we'll be putting in a restaurant, as well as a little 3-barrel brewing system, and we'll start. The brewing company will be called Terroir, based on the land, like as in wine. And so with that, we're doing our own malting of our own grains. And so that'll be available in our cidery tap room here in Tulsa as well, so people will be able to try that. And then we'll be sending cider and mead back and forth, and we'll also have a little tasting room for our spirits in Oklahoma City as well. Yeah, so it'll be over on First and Western, right next to Stone Cloud Brewing Company. It's a up and coming area. There's another brewery coming in next door to us, or just about a block away as well. And there's going to be a couple of restaurants and a large venue that goes out there, and so we're really excited to be a part of that community as well. And yeah, so I grew up in the Oklahoma City area, and so my wife's from Tulsa, and I love both communities, and there's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences, and I'm already spending a lot of time going out to Oklahoma City for events and everything like that. And so for us, we've got other projects in the works for the Tulsa area, putting in a few more tap rooms around town. Can't disclose those just yet, but I'm working on a few projects in Tulsa, and so we're not up and leaving Tulsa by any means. We're actually going to expand our footprint in Tulsa, not only in this building, but also elsewhere. So for us, we produce quite a bit of different spirits. We have I believe 8 different spirits on market right now. As we expand by having more tap rooms and doing different things like that, we're going to have more specialty stuff that we're able to kind of funnel through the tap rooms and to do a little bit more experimentation. Same thing with the cider and the mead. By having more tap rooms and really focusing on a tap room experience, we'll be able to be a little bit more experimental and kind of ship things between several locations. And then also a passion of mine for a long time has been brewing beer. I'm not looking to do a distribution brewery or anything like that, but really being able to offer that in our tap room here. But also, we have to brew beer to make whiskey anyways, and so we've already been using our own grain, and we've already been working on doing our own malting. And so for me, I love the experimental side of a lot of the new breweries, but I also grew up in a world of cooking, and so one of the things I'm doing currently is helping Foolish Things open a third concept. It's called High Dive, just over on 3rd and Trenton, and so really my input on that has been the culinary side, doing Korean street food. And so within cooking, there's this concept of farm to table. I really like the concept of going into brewing, is really looking at the terroir, or the land, and really making beer based on what we can grow here. And so been working on a concept with Enterprise Grain out in Enid called Grain to Glass. And so one of the things we're looking at doing is putting in our own acreage to do hops as well. And so the real focus for us is to grow things and showcase beer, not based on style or some sort of set notion of how I want to brew different styles of beer, but really, what can we grow here? What can we show that's really Oklahoma beer? And so it's not that I don't love German style beer, Belgian style beer, or East Coast IPAs or West Coast IPAs. The thing is, there's already great Oklahoma breweries doing those things, and there's, for me, if I'm going to do something, it's really, how do I put my own footprint on it? How do I make it my own? And so really tying that in, not only the brewing concept, but as well as food. For me, every place that we put in a new tap room, the food that goes along with it, it's very important to me. Again, it's anything that we do, it's what are we bringing to the community? And so it's not about recreating an experience you're already going to get. And so, for example, we do tacos. We as more than food, it's basically a religion here. And so in Oklahoma City, I would describe the food that we will be putting on our menu as Cormex. It's Korean and Mexican fusion. I spent 8 years in Asia. Absolutely adore Korean food, and tacos are basically the most perfect vessel for getting food into your mouth. And so there's nothing more fun than kind of taking two cultures I absolutely love and just kind of making it my own. And Cormex, both Korean and Mexican, pair perfectly with a really easy drinking beer or a great cider. And so for me, that's food that not only is not being done here in the state. I'm sure somebody's done it somewhere, but it's just something I thought that would be fun, that would be really enigmatic of who we are and what our ethos is as Oklahoma Distilling Company and all the other things that we're doing. And so, you know, we love where the other breweries are doing some really cool stuff. We're excited by some of the new distilleries and some of the older distilleries and what they're trying to do. And so for us, it's really, you know, we're just kind of wanting to do things in our own manner and have fun. So it's Terroir, so terroir. That's how you'd say it with the American accent. If I do it in French, it will sound terrible, so I will not. But it's a concept very well known to winemaking, and there are some breweries that do it. But most of the time, when people are making beer, they're buying they're buying bulk grain from one of the large maltsters, whether it's an English maltster, an American maltster, a German maltster, a Belgian maltster. There's a few key companies that people are buying from. There are a few independent ones here in the U.S., but by and large, people are buying from large roasting houses. And so for us, you know, we're already doing malting on a small scale for our whiskeys. And so the other added component is roasting. I learned how to roast coffee beans and use the same drum roaster to be able to make the specialty malts. And specialty malts don't take up a huge amount of the mash builds typically for a beer. And so there's a lot we can do that won't require much roasting. And then the other thing that's fun is malting things that are traditionally not malted, like rice or corn. And so with the corn, it doesn't necessarily mean that, or with the rice, doesn't necessarily mean that we're only use Oklahoma grain. For example, there's rice just across the way in Arkansas that we can go and pick up. But it is about knowing the farm and knowing where things are coming from, as opposed to it just being, you know, basically getting stuff shipped across from, you know, England. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's just not our focus on how we're going to do beer.